It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. It is online at the newly renovated joeskarting.com. Get to Joe's Karting today. Full prices, hours, all sorts of information. You can even pre-register before you head down there. I don't know how many friends I've taken down there to go racing, and then we've had to sit at the computers as they fill out the information. You can do it all online. It's absolutely free. Fill out the information, you get your driver ID number, you head out to the front, and then you get to go racing pretty quickly. So joeskarting.com, karting with a K, pre-register, prices, hours, operation, all sorts of great stuff at the newly renovated joeskarting.com. Got a heck of a show lined up for you today. We're going to talk NASCAR news. Boy, I tell you what, there's a lot to talk about. And I found out that poking holes in my tires on my Ranger doesn't work as well as it worked for Ryan Newman at Auto Club. So we'll talk about that.
It's because of the steel belts in your tires.
Talk about that in turn number one. Turn two, we're going to talk to the Jorgenson clan. And yes, they are a clan. Dave Sr., Dave Jr., and Robbie are going to join us to talk about racing being a family thing. Turn number three, MSR Mafia owner, World of Outlaws late model announcer, Lucas Oil late model announcer, contributor to OneDirt.com, and so much more. Ben Shelton will join us again to talk about late model off-season news, some of the articles he's been writing for OneDirt.com, and so much more. And then coming up today, turn number four, we'll wrap it all up. We'll talk Bug Eater Bash at I-80 Speedway, kind of preview that a little bit. We'll talk about the race season so far. Because there's no race today, because actually it's the Easter Bunny 500. I hope everyone's having a good Easter, by the way. Then we'll just kind of talk a little bit of NASCAR news and notes. We'll kind of breeze through some of that stuff and kind of our perception of the season and some teams that are struggling and some teams that just seem to be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. So
Ryan Newman's going to pray he was in the Easter Bunny 500.
Yeah, no kidding. Turn one brought to you by Kansas Speedway. Tickets for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 night race at Kansas Speedway Saturday night, May 9th, are available now. Call 866-460-RACE, or you can visit kansasspeedway.com. Booked our hotel rooms for Kansas Speedway. We're staying at a Holiday Inn Express, so hopefully that'll help me be a little bit smarter come race day, but let's not keep our fingers crossed. Make sure you get your tickets today for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 night race, Saturday night, May 9th, kansasspeedway.com. You can also call 866-460-RACE. Tickets are still available for just $99. You can buy single race packages or full weekend packages, all at kansasspeedway.com. Also, 866-460-RACE. Sometimes you just can't pass up talking to a real person.
Nope.
They'll love to sell you, and let me tell you what, sometimes you get better deals than just running through click, buy on my credit card. Maybe you can work them down a little bit. I'm not saying you can. Maybe you can. Who knows? KansasSpeedway.com, 866-460-RACE. And thanks, Kansas Speedway, for once again supporting the front stretch. Make sure you tune in next weekend. We're going to play NASCAR Trivia. We've got a lot of different questions and games that we're going to come up with, but basically, we've got passes to go to Kansas Speedway on Saturday, May 9th, that you can get if you listen Sunday morning. We'll give you the cue to call in. We'll do NASCAR Trivia. If you're right, which they're going to be pretty easy ones, but if you're right, you get to go to Kansas Speedway on us.
The ones you make will be easy.
Yes.
I like a challenge.
Maybe I'll get some hard ones for you. And then and congratulations to Sonia Worth and Dean Boger and Dave Wallenberg, who got to go to the Spring Meltdown this weekend, courtesy of the Front Stretch Pick'ems contest. Starting next weekend, as they go back to Texas on Saturday night, you can there's our next 5-week contest for Iowa Speedway tickets. Now that's the August race, not the race coming up before Kansas, but it's the August race that we're giving away a 4-pack.
Correct.
Yep, it is the Xfinity race. It's on Sunday, August 1st. So you're going to be able to get tickets to that. We're going to be down there for that race also. We're going to be busy this year, man.
That's good.
And it's going to be very fun.
We need to contact Iowa about some July passes for that truck race.
Oh, I would love to. I got to be at I-80 Speedway. Got to be / get to be for the Silver Dollar Nationals. No, wait, that's a different race. That's the IndyCar race that the Silver Dollar Nationals is on. So scratch that. I will talk to them about getting some truck race tickets. And they hooked us up last year with some pretty awesome prizes for the truck race.
And if you can't go, I know I can go.
That's very true. The heck with you, Dan. I'll go on my own. All right. We've got a little bit of news in the NASCAR world. All week long, the penalties came down for Ryan Newman and the 31 team post Martinsville, but it was for the Auto Club Speedway race the weekend before. And I've tried to do a little bit of research, but I'm kind of a dummy. You're a lot smarter when it comes to this technical stuff. Walk us through what happened.
Okay, first of all, the reason it took a week to announce the penalties is it was a third party that did the research with air bleed holes being put in the tire. And I mean, they are drilling literally microscopic size holes. And the rubber seals a lot of it itself until it gets to a certain pressure, and then a little bit of it bleeds out. And when that pressure drops again, the tire is resealing itself. And several teams have been doing it. Several teams have been warned about doing it. When it came down to after the California race, it sounds like only one of them still did it at California.
I'm going off memory here, and we all know how tricky that is. At the Phoenix race, the 4 and the 22's tires were confiscated. At Auto Club, it was the 4, 41, 27, 31, and one other team. I can't remember off the top of my head. They had their tires confiscated, but only the 31 was found to be in violation.
Exactly. The tires that were confiscated off the 4 car at Phoenix were useless.
Yeah.
Because they confiscated the back tires and Harvick had burned them to nothing.
You kind of wonder.
Absolutely.
Because Brad burned them down to nothing at Auto Club, and so did Denny. But didn't they confiscate all the tires? Like, it wasn't just the last set that they ran. I believe it was all of them, wasn't it?
I'm not sure exactly how many sets they were taking. I'd heard they had some problems with a couple cars during qualifying. Or not qualifying, excuse me, during practice. Okay. They even confiscated some sets during practice. And obviously, if you're going to run a race that way, you got to practice that way. Yep. And so I know there were some tires taken after practice, but as being in practice, it was not a P5 penalty at all. You know, they were just told that they were going to be watched, and, so they evidently didn't try it during race time. But,
so my question to you, on a scale of, we'll say, P1 to P5, is this a cheating? I mean, is this cheating?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. NASCAR, as they even said in their press release with Ryan Newman, that anytime you mess with the tires or the motor or safety.
The 3 big ones for NASCAR has always been motor, fuel, and tires.
Yeah.
That's the automatics.
Fuel comes in anymore just because of the way it's regulated. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I did find out today making some phone calls is the tire situation. They also had a little bit of an issue with chain of custody. And you see that a lot in a courtroom, but NASCAR is their own courtroom. Yeah. And I know just from my years of experience and being at the track and seeing some of this stuff unfold that I don't see Ryan Newman getting any break anytime this year. I mean, he's going to have to win a race so bad, that there's no way and possibly take it away from him. Okay. Because
when you say chain of custody, elaborate on that a little bit. You said there was an issue with the chain of custody.
What my guess is I didn't get into it with the official that I talked to, but my guess is they probably took the tires, put them on a cart, and rolled them into the back and let them sit. Okay. So they weren't like under a lock and key. They weren't under an armed guard. There was nobody sitting there watching them, and somebody could have come along and punched a hole in them. Okay. So,
is this grounds that Richard Childress Racing could look into this and say, hey, come on?
That didn't happen this time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like the Phoenix incident, and I know they impounded tires at Las Vegas also. They figured when somebody gets on one of these hot streaks, and it's hard telling. Richard Petty had that big, long first and second place streak years ago. Yep. The tech wasn't near what it is now. So for somebody to be able to dominate that much for that long, you got to look at something going on.
And I don't know. I said it on Facebook when it first came out on Tuesday. Kind of makes you think that maybe Newman's runs have been because of this tire bleeding that they've been doing to the cars. Newman has been running pretty well the last couple of races. Had a bad Daytona. I think he's had 4 consistent top 10s.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, he's run good.
But then they confiscated the tires at Auto Club, and he didn't have a very good Martinsville. And I heard it from Chad Robb. I heard it from people all throughout the broadcast. We were just really surprised at how bad that 31 car ran at Martinsville, despite qualifying, I think it was outside front row, and having such good practice times. All of a sudden, when the race started, his car was junk. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
Well, if I was a gambling man, I would say yes.
So
I really would.
You think it's not a coincidence? I mean, it's legit that tire bleeding made that big of an advantage for him.
Oh, it's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that's true.
They wouldn't. Nobody would have thought of it.
And this stuff has been going on. I've been hearing about. They've been talking about tire bleeding since the end of last year. Teams have been accusing each other, tattling on each other.
Oh, when did the Ford streak start?
Well, yeah, that's true. And Kevin, not a bad run at Martinsville. I don't know.
When push came to shove at the end, he didn't have the shove.
Yeah, he had a bad setup or a bad set. I think they put too much.
He had
wedge
tires
in it
with no holes in them.
That could have been it. All right, penalties that came down. And by the way, we were recording Wednesday night. The latest for Richard Childress Racing, statement from Tori, the president of Richard Childress Racing. Tori, I'm not even going to say his last name. I'm going to butcher it. We understand the seriousness of the penalty. In fact, RCR has been one of the most outspoken opponents against tire bleeding since the rumors began to surface last season. Once NASCAR provides us with the specific details of the infraction, we will conduct further internal investigations and evaluate our options for appeal. I think that kind of seems like they're going to wait and get the evidence before they decide if they're going to appeal. And I don't know.
They want to be proved.
Yeah, I think it's NASCAR hasn't had a very good track record the last couple of major penalties over the last 2 years of being able to uphold penalties. It's gone down to the arbitrator, and the arbitrator has reduced the penalties.
Well, some of them, knowing what I know, again, back with the engine deal with Matt Kenseth, making a one part out of the rotating assembly 3 grams too light when the engine came from Toyota, who readily admitted that engine could have been in any Toyota car that weekend.
Yeah.
It just happened to be in Kenseth. That was kind of a tough one to hold the feet to the fire on. So they had to reel it back in. Then they've got the precedents they set on other penalty calls. I've been at races where we had Bobby Hamilton at Milwaukee in a truck race one time. Came in after qualifying, and we'd always check the fuel. And he had fuel that he did not get at that racetrack. We could prove it. We ran our tests, and we tore him down the next 6 races. Didn't matter where he finished. One race, he crashed out.
Tore him down.
Yep. He was still the random teardown.
It was random in air quotes?
It's in air quotes. Yes, it is. But I've seen that happen several times. There was another time with Brendan Gaughan. Mm-hmm. Brendan was running for Rookie of the Year in 2002 and had no owner's points from 2001. As you see, the third race of the year was Martinsville, and he missed the show by 0.03 of a second. Dennis Setzer won the pole. They had a rule where the coil springs on the front had to have 5 complete coils. Dennis Setzer's left front coil spring was maybe 3/4 of an inch or an inch too short from completing that 5th coil.
Okay.
They could have just written him up and given him a warning. Because, in all honesty, that probably didn't make I can tell you for a fact it didn't make any difference. But they disqualified him and put Brendan in the race in the 32nd spot, running for Rookie of the Year. And then Setzer went out and started dead last on the field with a provisional and won the race. So that spring made no difference.
Yeah, but in Ryan's case, this was a crew chief or an engineer's call. It definitely made a difference when it came to tire pressure, grip, and speed in that car at Auto Club. So you think the crime fits the punishment?
I don't think the crime is up to the punishment. Or the punishment, it should be bigger.
You think so?
In my opinion.
Where?
The 75 points practically kills his chance for a chase without a win, and I don't think NASCAR will let him have a win. I really don't. Not that they control it, but they'll be all over him white on rice if he does win a race. But they could just nip that in the bud and just disqualify him from the chase.
Yeah.
The crew chief got 6 races, I believe, which is going to, I think it takes the All-Star race out, too, for him.
Yeah, it's 6 points-paying races plus any non-points paying races.
And I think in that 6-week stretch, he loses that. I think he gets come back for the World 600. If I'm not mistaken, that's the way the schedule is going to work for those guys.
Let me count real quick while you're talking.
The monetary fine, I mean, what was it, $250,000, $350,000, something like that.
125.
Well, that's for the crew chief. What was it for the owner?
Same.
Oh, so $250 total.
Yeah.
And $250 for those guys that drop in the bucket. They're going to get hurt more just with the bad press and sponsors.
Couldn't that be what NASCAR's leaving it up to? I mean, NASCAR didn't heavily fine Michael Waltrip Racing when they fined him, but it wasn't a big deal. But
took a driver out of the chase.
It took a driver out of the chase. It penalized them monetarily, but the biggest thing that hurt them was it lost Napa. And they lost a lot of funding, and that team hasn't come close to recovering from that. They were on a big upswing at that time, and all of a sudden it all came crashing down.
Since that deal, they have struggled, but, I'll guarantee you that nobody there at Michael Waltrip Racing called Napa and said, look, that was a heat-of-the-moment deal, trying to make sure they got somebody in the chase, which for about 30 seconds they did. But
long enough to take a picture, and then I remember they had to retake the picture. And then when they added Jeff Gordon, they had to take it again.
But, adding Jeff Gordon, that's just another one of my things where I say NASCAR kind of does what it wants, right, wrong, or otherwise.
Yeah.
Which, and when more stuff like this happens, the worse it makes it for NASCAR, because you've got a lot of people that, weren't happy. You had a lot of Jeff Gordon fans that were great. Jeff's in the chase, da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. But you had a lot more people saying that's just wrong, which, in my opinion, it was.
Is this penalty unfair for Ryan Newman?
Yes and no, but he's part of the team. So you're penalizing the team, and he might not have known. The only person that knows that is whoever he talked with, and and Ryan.
Yeah.
But Ryan's an engineer. If all of a sudden he's tootling around the track and he's going, wow, now I got a whole bunch of forward bite and everything's so much better, he's going to ask a question. What did you guys do?
Yeah. So I think 2 years ago, before this new format, I think it is a big penalty against Ryan Newman. It's similar to what happened with Matt Kenseth at Kansas when he got penalized. It was something that could have stopped Matt from making the chase and really hurting his career. But with this new system, when you're in, I think it's more of a slap on the wrist than a real penalty against Ryan Newman. Now, Richard Childress Racing, Luke Lambert, they're feeling it a little bit more. And Ryan's got a little bit more
Luke
pressure.
Luke ain't paying that.
Well, no.
And Richard, he'll sell a few more cases of wine.
Maybe. You've talked to Richard. You know Richard. Is this something that he would tolerate? Well, cheating's cheating, but finding those gray areas is a whole different world. Is Richard okay with the gray area and exploring that cheating area?
Richard's a car owner. Richard was a driver. Richard's turned wrenches. I don't know what the extent is that Richard knew, but I'm sure there was somebody that, said, hey, this is what, and he might have said, I don't want to know. Mm-hmm. So he's got deniable plausibility, or plausible deniability, excuse me. But my guess is he knew.
Okay. So do you think this is something that Luke might lose his job on, or is he pretty safe?
I think he's pretty safe. The one thing when you sit and you look at all this is you did not see this going on the 3-car.
Well, not much has gone on in that 3-car.
Well, I'm just saying, though. You didn't see it going on in the 3-car. If they'd have got away with it for half a season, the second half of the season, that 3-car might have been a rocket.
That's very true. Talking about the results at Martinsville Speedway, despite all this negative talk we've been talking about, that was a good race at Martinsville.
Great race.
I thought it was a fantastic race. I thought it was. I had a couple of friends that talked to me about, they were frustrated that they couldn't get it on Fox Sports. By the way, I helped them out. You can download the MRN or PRN app, whichever one is carrying the broadcast, and they do the radio broadcast streaming live on their apps. So if you've got a data connection and you don't have Fox Sports 1 or you don't have NBC Sports, then you can download those apps and you can listen to the race for free. And quite frankly, I think the radio broadcasts are a lot better than the TV broadcasts.
I'll tell you, if you missed the truck race on Saturday, that race was even better.
Yeah, that was a great – boy, I thought what was it, Cole Custer? I thought he had it. Boy, I thought he had it, but boy.
He couldn't pedal fast enough.
Results from Martinsville, your top 10. Jamie McMurray is 10th place, finished 10th, excuse me. Jeff Gordon 9th. Despite Jeff's best attempt, he got a top 10 finish. Kevin Harvick 8th, snaps his streak. He tied the king, but couldn't beat it. 8 straight top 2 finishes, but it ends there as he finishes 8th place.
The king had 11.
Oh, I thought he had 8. I thought they were saying on the broadcast he tied at 8.
Nope, the king had 11.
Okay, so never mind then. Listen to this. Danica Patrick, 7th place.
It was a mistake. It wasn't her in the car.
Oh, okay. Martin Truex Jr., 6th. David Reagan, 5th. Good run for David Reagan in that 18 car. Matt Kenseth, 4th. Joey Logano, 3rd. Brad Keselowski, 2nd. And your winner, now qualified for the postseason, Denny Hamlin in the FedEx Toyota.
Yeah, Gibbs had a good day.
A very good day. And they've kind of struggled the last so far this season, Matt. We're waiting for 2012 Matt.
Well, they didn't have a Toyota
13.
top 10 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. But again, it was a good race. Tough race for A.J. Allmendinger. He had oil leak going on. Austin Dillon had an electrical issue. His car went up in smoke. Chase Elliott was involved in an accident. So was Dale Jr. Jimmy Johnson, just rough day.
Yeah.
Rough day. And maybe a conversation for another day, but I'm starting to believe that him and Chad Knaus aren't getting along very well these days.
I think there was a little bit of frustration. I mean, they never really got going the whole weekend up there.
Yeah, but you're hearing that more and more. But maybe it's because it's just all the competitors have caught up to them and they're not winning as much, because winning cures everything.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if you remember, this race last year was where he went out on about the 10th lap and blew a tire.
Yeah.
Came in and changed it 2 laps down and blew it 3 laps later and in the wall.
Yeah.
So, they're in the chase, so they might have been doing a little experimenting for the fall race coming around. Last year they ran good in the fall race and the chase race for Martinsville. So maybe that was the same plan this year.
All right, we got to leave time for Dave Jorgensen and Ben Shelton, plus wrapping up in turn number 4. But Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, all locked in to the chase. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back in turn number 2. The Jorgensens are going to join us. Dave Sr., Dave Jr., and Robbie are going to talk about dirt racing. It's a family thing. This is The Front Stretch with Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston. Make sure you stick around.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dave, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our 2nd annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit kansasspeedway.com today.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Heading into turn number 2 here on the Front Stretch, brought to you by Kosiski Auto, online at kosiski.com. Quality used parts at an affordable price. Team PRP stands for Premium Recycled Parts. It's basically a guarantee. You're not going to walk into some snot-nosed little kid sitting behind the counter and tell them you need a gasket for an oil pan for just pulling something out of a 2004 Ford Ranger, and they accidentally happen to give you one from an 89 Ford Ranger, which, by the way, after you have your oil pan off, it's kind of a tough predicament when you don't have the right gasket. So go to Team PRP. Now, they're not going to be able to hook you up with the 2011 Ford Ranger oil pan, but they're going to be able to hook you up with alternators, radiators, hoses, all sorts of stuff. What they do is just collect cars. Joe says he buys like 15 to 20 cars a week, sometimes a day, and then they just sit in his yard. And they've got quality parts that have been tested. They're made sure that they're going to work for you. And all you got to do is just tell them what part you need. And here's the great thing. You don't have to go out to the yard and find it. They do it for you. 51st and I Street is where Kosiski Auto Parts is located at. Head over there today and talk to Andrew and all the fine people at the counters at Kosiski Auto Parts. No snot-nosed, by the way. They've got plenty of Kleenex around there. So get to Kosiski Auto Parts. And don't forget to get to the Bug Eater Bash this weekend at I-80 Speedway. A-Mods, B-Mods, Grand Nationals, Stock Cars, Pro-Ams, Hobby Stocks, and Sport Compacts. Friday night, green flag at 7:15, and Saturday, green flag at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a beautiful time this weekend. This Spring Meltdown went down with the MLRA, CBC, Nebraska 360s. Fantastic list of drivers that all made their way out to the Spring Meltdown this weekend. And if you weren't there, well, you got a chance to make it up this weekend for the Bug Eater Bash. A-Mods, B-Mods, Grand Nationals, all sorts of racing action today. And joining us in the studio now, it is a trio, a family of racers. Dave Jorgenson Sr., Dave Jorgenson Jr., and Robbie Jorgenson, all racers, third-generation racers. Gentlemen, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing swell. I appreciate you guys sitting down. And Dirk, you kind of line this up, so I'm going to hand the baton over to you and kind of talk about the family of racing.
All right. Well, thank you guys for stopping out. We really appreciate it. Let's go with a timeline. Senior, when did you get started?
1975, I think was my first full year.
About the time you graduated high school?
Yeah, a few years after that.
Junior, when would you start it?
I believe 96 was my first season.
Okay. And Robbie, you're still a youngster.
I just started last season.
Rookie of the Year award to go along with that.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. That's a good start. Senior, you going to do any racing this year at all, or?
I hope to. We'll see how generous the kids are here with the cars. But there's still 2 cars there. We'll see if they'll let me in one.
One's there for the old-timers race, maybe?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
And I know Dave and Robbie are both planning on being out there as much as possible.
Dave Jr. here is not driving. I have no plans of driving this season. 2
Really?
cars. Yeah, both are set up for Robbie here. One for the crate class on Fridays at I-80 Speedway there. And then the second car that my dad drove last year, we got that set up with an IMCA spec motor. And we're gonna do the Spring Meltdown this weekend. Just start at the back just so you can go out and get some laps with some more horsepower and some better drivers. Start at the back, make laps, get some practice. That way when he gets in the crate car for the following weekend for the Bug Eater, then it's, like I just warmed up with 2 bats. Now I got 1 bat and I'm gonna, swing it a little harder.
So the IMCA, is that for Shelby County then?
Yes, that's primarily for Shelby County Speedway on Saturdays when we've got time and my work schedule allows.
Want to adopt another kid?
I got two right behind him, 2 boys, and they all think they want to get a taste of this. And I got 2 cars. I might have to have a third next, within a couple of years. Who knows?
Are the other 2 in carts right now?
Not right now. We got rid of the go-kart. That's how Robbie started a few years ago. We had 1 go-kart, and they rotated, and I had to change pedals and seats week to week, and yeah.
That was fun enough?
Yeah, that wasn't that much fun. It sounds like a lot of fun at the time, but once you're into it, it's kind of a hassle.
Senior, how involved are you in the pits on with Robbie and kind of helping him through where to approach, maybe how to set the car up, that kind of stuff?
I let his dad tell him what to do and what he's doing wrong. Last year when I was driving, it was all I could do to take care of myself.
Yeah.
There was nights I'd get in the car and forget my jacket. I was lucky to have the helmet. So, I was more or less just taking care of myself last year and let David coach the grandson.
Robbie, did you ever follow Dave Sr. around the track, maybe a little bit, watch him where he's going, kind of figure stuff out, or was it kind of, I'm going to try my own stuff?
It was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
There was a couple times we started pretty close to each other, but there's a big skill difference and there's a learning curve, so he'd usually pull away and I'd still be kind of like, I wouldn't be as fast. But there's times I'd see him on track and I'd be like, oh, he's up high, I'll go up there, try that out. But once I lost sight of him, I just tried doing my own thing.
Do you guys think you have similar driving styles being from the same family, or is it?
I hope he's got better style than I do.
He's a little aggressive.
Yeah, and you're more kind of sitting back, letting things happen?
Yeah, I just try to be as smooth as I can.
Give that a couple years.
Yeah.
There is, I think I've come to the conclusion, there's a certain level of aggressiveness you have to have when it comes to driving, and almost borderline recklessness. And I say borderline because there is that very fine line where it's shooting the gap and going where you're not supposed to go.
It depends a lot on who you're racing with too. You know the different drivers. You know who's going to do what and who might do something that wouldn't be the thing you'd like to see him do. So
a lot of that depends on the race director too. Craig Kelly was always great at protecting the driver up against the wall.
Correct. Leave the top lane open.
He was real good at that at Sunset. He even carried it over to I-80 when he was running the show there.
Define that for me. Leave the top lane open.
Well, if you're running the top, fine. If you're in the middle and you come off the corner, you better leave room up there because you can't see somebody coming on your outside.
The slide job.
Don't do basically as an anti-slide job.
Well, yeah, they're coming on your outside. You don't want to pinch them into the wall because chances are you're going to get turned.
I never thought about that, but now you guys mention that, you do see that every once in a while coming out of turn 4, and that guy slides all the way up the track right up against the wall, and now we've got 2 cars collected.
And I know as you guys can attest, I've been around it long enough. I don't have a whole lot of dirt driving experience, but the car just does it.
Yeah.
It's a concentrated effort to keep it off the wall. You're just in the gas.
Physics are going to make it want to go out there, but you've got to, if you crowd somebody into the wall, you get what you deserve.
Absolutely. Seen that many a times.
Any of you guys superstitious? Rituals before you get to the track?
If I remember one time this season, I wore a certain I forget what shirt I wore, but I got in a big wreck. I never wear the shirt underneath my fire suit. That's the only superstitious thing I have.
Was it green by any chance?
No, it wasn't green.
Okay.
But if I wear a certain shirt, if I do well in one shirt, I actually do keep it on just for superstitious. Like, I notice I have one shirt, and if I wear it, I'm usually consistent, and I don't lose any spots, but I don't gain any.
Do you wash it?
Oh, I wash it.
Okay, good.
That's just gross. If you don't wash it, that's just gross.
What was it? There was a linebacker that didn't wash his jockstrap an entire season. I think it played for the Giants. It was the year they won the Super Bowl, and like they were talking about how by the end of the season it would stand out straight. I mean, it was just disgusting. So
horrible.
Good. Glad you washed the shirt.
Oh yeah, I wash it.
What else, Dave? How did you get started in it? Was it your dad that started you in it, or was it something you just kind of fell into?
We actually moved to a farm place just a half-mile west of Sunset when I was about 5. And my dad worked for the Haydens. He was an electrician by trade, so he'd fix the lights in the spring, work the pit gate through the season. My mom could get myself and my 5 siblings in there for free, so that was like a night off for her. Just take us to the track and let us run.
Now, at that time, did kids sit still and watch the races,
No.
or were they still okay? They were okay.
That's one thing that hasn't changed. The
So,
kids are still
my
down in
parents-
the gravel, standing at the fence, screaming for your
Okay.
favorite.
My parents were always lying to me. They said, when I was a kid, I was sat right here in this seat. So they were lying too, huh? What about, is it Dave Jr.? Is that because of your dad, you just kind of being around it, you wanted to get involved in it too?
Oh yeah, since I was a kid, late 70s, whenever I recall going, recall going there. That's all I wanted to do. We'd sit in a certain spot every week at sunset, come down the ramp, go to left, about right in between turn 4 and the flag stand, maybe a third of the way up, and that's where we sat every week. And you could see the cars coming out of 4 sideways and throwing mud, and I always thought that was cool, and I just have always enjoyed it and thought I could do that someday.
If Robbie decided he wanted to be an accountant instead, would you be upset by that? Would you want to? I mean, do you want to push him towards dirt racing, or is it he can do what he wants?
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's interested in it, and he's crazy about it. And it's one of the few things that he really listens to me about. If I say go out there with your helmet on backwards, he would do it.
Yeah.
But go clean your room, any of that stuff. What'd you say? I didn't hear you. It's very selective listening.
And Dan, he can be an accountant and a race car driver, just to let
true.
you know.
But most race car drivers I know can't count very well, including me. I'm not very good with the
They
math.
can count laps.
That's true.
Is
Not
ask 'em.
always. Not
And
that's
they
why he got the white one and the halfway and all that.
And they can count dents on their car.
Yeah.
And they can tell you who put it there, too. Are you like that, Robbie? Can you remember who? I know you're just still getting into it, but even back in your karting days, can you remember when somebody did you wrong?
I just learned to let it go because it doesn't do any good to sit there and dwell on one thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to get back, because you just end up wrecking yourself and costing yourself money.
Yeah.
There's just no need for it.
Coming out of 4 to the checker, you might change that tune.
That's true. I'm going to pull a Dale Earnhardt move or something if I really want to win.
Turn into the
Absolutely.
eliminator. We're talking to the Jorgensens about it being a family thing, that being dirt racing. Favorite memory at the track for you guys? Dave Sr., we'll start with you.
Probably the night we at sunset, my 2 brothers and I ran 1, 2, 3 in a Grand National feature. So
Okay.
that was pretty cool.
Would you be more excited if you want to race or if Robbie want to race?
Oh, I'd rather see Robbie win one.
Really?
I've had my day in the spotlight. I'd like to see Robbie win some.
Junior, what about you? What's your favorite memory at a racetrack?
I have one win at Sunset Speedway in '99 before it closed. And when I started racing in '96, I thought, okay, because they were talking it's going to close around 2000. I'm thinking I really would love to get a feature win here before this place closes because I've been coming here so long. So that's probably my favorite win, and something if I wouldn't want to give back.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm glad I got that one trophy for that feature win.
Robbie, do you have any favorite racing memories, or is it mostly just being at the track with your family?
I have a lot of good memories. I remember I was very young, 2 years old. Sunset closed in 2000. But I remember going there. I have little flashbacks to playing in dirt. That's a good memory. But lately, my favorite race is I picked up one heat race win this season, and just all the pats from the back when you come in is always nice. So
where was that
at? I-80.
At I-80?
Fall Brawl.
Where old are you racing this year? You planning on?
Well, we're gonna do I-80 every week with the crate car, and then Harlan now and then with the with the IMCA car if we don't wreck on Friday. And then maybe if we feel like it, we might go hit some special events. Maybe a Deary Brothers race if they come close. West Liberty. I think we're gonna do that for sure.
Love that track.
Might hit a couple if the SLMR comes to I-80 and there's no Grand National shows, like say Fall Brawl one night they run Grand Nationals, the next night they run SLMR. We'll go both nights, take the crate car one and then the IMCA motor there.
Yeah. How many times has either of these two, your daddy or grandpa, said to you, when I was racing?
They don't throw the old when I was racing it was like
really?
this, or they don't really throw that. They usually just give me advice, and they don't just tell me about their glory days. They try to help push me farther towards my glory days.
Cool. Robbie Jorgenson, you can find him on Facebook, right?
Yep.
Do you have a fan page or just a personal page?
Just my name. You can friend request me.
Okay.
ROBBIE Jorgensen.
All right. And Dave Jr., Dave Sr., appreciate you guys coming in today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you, Dirk.
Have a great Easter, and we hope to see you guys out at I-80 Speedway this week.
Good luck this season.
Thank you.
We'll be back in turn number 3 to talk to Ben Shelton of too many things to list, but we'll talk to him about all things dirt racing coming up here on the front stretch.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dale, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our second annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit kansasspeedway.com today.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 3, and it's time to talk to the man that is in the pits for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. And Ben, hopefully, will be coming back to the Silver Dollar Nationals this year at I-80 Speedway. Ben Shelton joining us on the phone to talk to us a little bit of late model racing. How you doing, Ben?
Doing pretty good today. How you guys doing?
We are definitely enjoying the weather.
We're not doing as much fun as you because we haven't started racing yet.
Well, we haven't raced much around here. We got to race in Arizona and Florida, but since then, everything in the Mid-South has been pretty much washed out as I sit here and watch a severe thunderstorm raging outside my office window right now. So it's not been a real happy time around here either.
Yeah, we got it on Wednesday night, and I think we got more coming, but hopefully Mother Nature will just moisten the ground around us and leave us alone on the weekend so we can do some racing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm feeling your pain.
If only these weathermen could actually control the weather, that would be the biggest break in dirt racing of all time.
Well, if any of us could, we might have $1 million idea until then. We can sit around and complain about
So
it.
that'd be a little bit bigger than that, Dan.
So, Ben, we haven't got to talk to you in a while. What have you been up to in the off season? Probably just laying around, getting heavy and lazy, huh?
Yeah, I wish it was an off season. Actually, even with the rain outs, I've been wide open here in the office. But no, it's been good already. Taking 6 nights of racing out in Arizona back in January, and then with Speed Weeks, we had 17 nights of racing down there, and it's been a good time. And I kind of chomping at the bit though. Got a little bit of cabin fever, ready to get back out and get after it. Mother Nature's been pretty harsh to us, but pretty soon it'll be hot and dry, and we'll all be complaining about that because we can't get any rain, and we're all miserably hot. So it's a feast or famine type business for sure.
Be begging for a rain out.
Yes, sir.
Ben, we haven't got to talk to you, like I said, in quite a while, and we like to check in with you every once in a while to see what's going on with the Lucas Oil late model. So if you don't mind, kind of some off-season news. I don't get a lot of Lucas Oil late model news. That's why I like to check in with you. So team changes, maybe some manufacturer changes, chassis changes for some of the big front runners in the Lucas Oil late model series that you can talk to us and kind of have us keep an eye on as the season gets going.
Well, there's been a lot of changes, and again, I work with the Lucas Series some. My main role is with the World of Outlaws, the series announcer for them. I work with the Lucas Series when I have availability, but it's been a busy time for the Lucas Series. Definitely some new teams out there. Jimmy Owens, of course, moving over to Oklahoma-based Roland Racing, so that team actually bought all the equipment he had with Reese Motorsports. So the equipment and the crew stayed the same, but the car owner changed, and Widow Wax, the title sponsor on that, versus Reese Monument we've seen the past few years. And then similarly, Scott Bloomquist actually goes to the Reese Monument team, driving for Mr. Reese, and so he's in the Reese Monuments in his number 0, and also with sponsorship from Mark Martin and Lance Landers, Jared Landers' dad, and he and Jared have been a teammate this year on the Lucas Tour. So that's kind of been the big news as far as team-wise, a little bit of shake-up there. And then, they've battled weather as well. The Lucas Series last weekend had to cancel or postpone an event at Jackson Motor Speedway in Jackson, Mississippi, and they had to cancel one altogether at Arklay Speedway in Vivian, Louisiana. So they're trying to catch a little bit of break with the weather as well. They look to return to action, weather permitting, next weekend down in Jackson Motor Speedway, which Jackson's just been hammered down there with a lot of rain. And then the bad thing about Jackson, it's in a flood basin of a river. So when the river gets up, it gets a hold of the racetrack. And right now they're praying for some dry weather down there so the Lucas Series can jump back in action next weekend.
And I apologize, man. One of these days, I'm going to remember that your main role is for the World of Outlaw late model and not the Lucas Oil late model. I get that wrong just about every time we talk.
No worries at all. Like I said, I work with both series, and I enjoy working with both of them, and among 1,000 other things that I do. So, no, it's there's some days I wake up, and I don't know what my role for that day is, so don't feel bad at all.
I joke that you have a 4x3 postcard for a business card to list all of your job roles.
You might be onto something there. I might need to really take a hard look at that one.
Along with doing your pit announcing, you own MSRmafia.com, which is a great little site that takes care of marketing and developmental for not only drivers but also series and tracks. What are some of your new clients that you've brought on board to help promote them social media wise and bring them up to the next level?
Well, it's kind of been a blur. Things have been really good over the past few months. Mason Ziegler, one of the guys running World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year right now, picked up Mason, and a lot of good regional drivers that I've picked up. Of course, I've launched about 20 websites in the past month and a half, and as soon as you asked me that, it all escapes me. But some good shoes out of Louisiana. Picked up some good new modified drivers as well, and things are really doing well on that front. Getting up over 150 clients now, and I expect to probably get up to 200 clients by the end of the year. So that's been really exciting, and we've got a new dirt track being built here in Memphis, and falling back on my civil engineering knowledge and my knowledge of racing, the facility's hired me to be a consultant, so I've been working on that last October, and we're hoping to have that racetrack open by late this summer. So, between stuff like that and then working as one of the managing editors with OneDirt.com and working with the guys at DirtOnDirt.com and Dirt Late Model Magazine, it's a full plate for sure.
Is that new track in Memphis? Is that over by the Memphis Motorsports Park, or where's about that going to be located?
It's at Memphis Motorsports Park. They've it's a different ownership group than had it before when it was a dirt track, and they're actually building it on the same property the old dirt track was, where the old dirt track spectator parking was. That's where the new dirt track's going. We're building a 3/10-mile state-of-the-art oval, and very excited about it. It's going to be a semi-bank track, very wide, must-go lighting all the way around it, seating for 5,000. We've got some plans for some really big shows. I'd say we've got some big plans for some big shows. If I get together more than twice a year, it'll be a miracle in my travel schedule. But they have some plans for some very big shows, and very excited. It's going to be a Friday night track, and It's going to bring something back to the Memphis area. It's hopefully going to help other tracks in the region as well. We've got, of course, the historic Riverside International Speedway over in West Memphis, Arkansas, where guys like Jeff Swindell, Sammy Swindell, Greg Hodnett, Bobby Davis Jr., Jason Side, so many guys got their start. And it runs every Saturday night, and those two tracks are already, making a real concerted effort to work together. So, hopefully everything goes well. Very excited about that. It's a bright outlook for racing in the Memphis area. And I think it's going on right now 8 years since the dirt track was open here in Memphis, which makes me so old because that was my first job in racing.
Do they still have the asphalt there?
Yeah, they've got the paved oval, of course. Like a lot of paved ovals, it's kind of gone by the way of hard times. Rusty Wallace has a driving experience there, and they have a few races from time to time. Circle Track actually has their new street stock series that they're doing, and they're tentatively planned to be at the dirt track on Saturday, October 3rd, and then on Sunday, I believe it is, they're going to run the paved oval. So it'll be interesting to see, one, if the track is ready for that and how that deal turns out. I know that Circle Track's been really big about pushing this new series they're putting together where these guys are going to run dirt one night, pavement the next. And the real story will be watching guys go from a 3/10 mile oval to a 3/4 mile oval in a period of 24 hours.
We're talking with Ben Shelton of MSR Mafia, and also you contribute to OneDirt.com and talking about the Memphis International Raceway. You've done a 5-part series from the ground up. Talk a little bit about that article.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into designing and building a racetrack, and I thought it would be cool. I said, well, if I'm going to be a consultant on this, I'm going to double dip here. I'm always looking for new content to generate. I'm going to make chapters that go with the design process as well as the construction. So up until the piece that literally just came out today at One Dirt, everything has been about the design. And boy, in fact, when you guys called, I was sitting here on Google Maps taking a few last glances at some racetracks around the country. I've measured lengths of straightaways, lengths of turns, widths of turns, everything, and trying to incorporate some of my favorite tracks in the country and incorporate all those good factors into the tracks here. And got a lot of sleepless nights. I've got Johnny Stokes from down at Magnolia Motor Speedway. We call him Dr. Dirt, probably one of the top promoters, still a top racer as well, but he really knows his dirt preparation, and got him on board with the project. I talk to him every couple of days about it. He's going to be the gentleman that actually not only installs the surface here, but also trains the staff on how to prepare it and how to have a great racetrack. And, of course, Magnolia, one of the mainstays on the Lucas Tour, and they always have a big TV race there in mid-June. So we're, just been kind of trying to bring people up to speed that this isn't something that is just being thrown together. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. And if you read the articles, you see a lot of disclaimers when I say, hey, when this thing opens, it's still going to be a work in progress, because I'm not delusional in any front. I realize that, this can look perfect on paper and all that, but until we get out there and start working it, we're not going to know what our real challenges are. So we've made every effort to be prepared, but there's going to be speed bumps along the way. And maybe it's a little bit of a CYA situation where I've done all of these pieces to explain, how many different variables. The biggest factor we found is that most tracks don't know what their true banking is. One, their true size. I found that off after doing Google Maps takeoff. Most tracks have no idea what they really are.
Yep.
And then when it comes to the banking, it's really laughable. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a really prominent track in the Midwest that, they count 32 degrees of banking. And I got to thinking about that. 32 degrees, wow, that's a lot. And I started putting a pencil and paper to it. Well, that would mean from the bottom of the corner to the top of the corner, there would be a 40-foot rise in elevation, Russ. And at that point, you couldn't keep dirt on a racetrack, much less a race car. So, there's been a lot of challenges. You can't take stuff for gospel. So, we're designing this track with 10 degrees of banking, which will result in roughly a 13-foot rise in the corners, and on a small bull ring should be plenty. But it's been a learning process. It's been enjoyable and nerve-wracking at the same time. And until we have the first fantastic race, I'm probably going to worry a little bit about it every day.
Are you losing any hair over it?
Well, no, not so far. I could probably stand to lose a little bit of hair, but I'm definitely getting some gray hairs in. But no, I want this to be great. This is something I'm very proud of. They put a lot of faith into me, and it's something that I want to bring to my hometown, the best of every track that I see around the country. And so we'll see how it comes out. They're hoping to open in July. I've told them with the weather we have, the delays we've already had in construction because of the weather, that if we see a car on the track before the end of the year, we'll consider ourselves lucky. We'll see. I hope they're right and I'm wrong. But either way, 2016 should be a really big year with a lot of big shows.
Ben Shelton with MSRMafia.com, World of Outlaws Late Model Racing, OneDirt.com, and, I don't know if we have enough time to list them all. Ben, you do a terrific job taking care of us here on the front stretch and entertaining us in the dirt world. We appreciate everything you do, sir.
No, I really appreciate it, and hopefully you guys can get a break in the weather and get some shows going. Hopefully that'll be the case for all of us. Just wrote an article last week that came out talking about everybody getting frustrated about the delays. The tracks that have got to race have had terrible surfaces and things like that. I said, again, most of us race now until about November, so no sweat. There'll be plenty of time to race. We just got to get the season started.
To race or not to race? That is the question. It's the article you can read on OneDirt.com. Just search Ben Shelton, and you've got tons of articles, man. About every week, every couple of days, you post a new article?
Yeah, I try to get a few on there. They're trying to get me to have a little bit heavier involvement in that website, do a little bit more with them in the magazine, and I've told them if they can add one more day to the week and 2 hours to the day, they got a deal. But so far, they haven't made that happen. But knowing Chris Douglas, the head marketing coordinator at Tom Camp, it's a matter of time for that extra day gets added to the week, and I'm going to have to pony up at that point.
Enjoy your weekend, Ben Shelton. We appreciate you joining us, sir.
Yes, sir. You guys have a great day. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for stopping by, Ben.
So again, you got to check out what he does. Fantastic articles. He's a very clever writer on OneDirt.com. Just search Ben Shelton and all of his articles come up. From the ground up, Chapter 5 was just put out on Wednesday, April Fool's Day. No jokes about that. Fantastic series of articles there. To race or not to race, the question that every dirt track has on their mind when they're sitting there watching it rain, or did it stop raining at just a little bit too late of a time, or is there enough time? Because there's a lot of it's not an easy thought process, because there's a lot of money that is involved, not just on the dirt track side, but also on the driver's side of hauling to the track, and then the races get canceled.
A lot of variables in there, and the weather's the biggest one.
His name is Earl. He wrote a tribute article to Earl Badels, who passed away, the owner of Eldora Speedway, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, and fantastic articles. And then you'll see Ben in the pits at a lot of World of Outlaw late model races and also Lucas Oil late model races, and you'll definitely see him in the pits at I-80 Speedway. When the World of Outlaw late models Lucas Oil late models hit I-80 Speedway July 17th, 18th, and 19th this year for the Silver Dollar Nationals. All right, let's take a break. We are almost done with the show. We're going to head into turn number 4 and wrap this baby up. This is the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dale, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our second annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit KansasSpeedway.com today.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up. Rolling into turn number 4. Went a little long during the show, so this one's going to be kind of brief. Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the Front Stretch. Dirk, here, listen to this. Easter buffet starting at 11 a.m. today. Chef-carved, slow-roasted prime rib with au jus and horseradish. Roasted turkey breast, Virginia ham with pineapple, homemade stuffing, fresh vegetables, cheesy broccoli and chicken soup, bone-in jumbo wings, fresh salad bar with all the fixins, strawberry dessert patch. All of this, kids $8.99, 12 and under, adults $15.99, seniors 62 and up, $13.99. That's going on today at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs.
Now, the ham is from Virginia, so where is this prime rib from?
It's got to be from Omaha.
Nebraska?
Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
Or the state of Omaha?
Could be, well, pretty much the state of Omaha. Rest of Nebraska doesn't. No, I'm just kidding. We love you guys. I'm just kidding. You guys out there on the west side of Omaha. We love you. All right, that's all going on at Quaker Steak and Lube today. 11 to 3, the Easter buffet. They go above and beyond. And listen, I tell you this every time, and I have friends tell me this every time. The fact that a wing joint is known for as much as they are. Burgers, steaks, wraps, salmon. These guys don't do anything halfway. They're amazing when it comes to food. You'll love this buffet. Get there today, 11 to 3, the Easter buffet. All right, this coming weekend, Friday and Saturday, the Bug Eater Bash at I-80 Speedway. Again, A-Mods, B-Mods, Grand Nationals, stock cars, Pro-Ams, hobby stocks, and sport compacts. Friday night, Green Flag 7:15. Saturday night, Green Flag at 6 o'clock. Make sure you get out to I-80 Speedway. What do you got going on today for Easter, bud?
I'm going to be chewing on some chocolate bunny ears. And it sounds like I might be heading over to the Quaker Steak. That sounds pretty good.
I am heading back home to my family's farm, and I am cooking a nice big country ham.
Do they know you're coming back?
No, I don't tell them, or else they move the location.
They move across the street, and they know you can't cross the street without an adult.
Yep. Make sure you join us next weekend. It's our first live show of the year. We're going to be live because Texas Motor Speedway is on the schedule for Saturday night, 6:30 Green Flag on Fox. Make sure you get your picks in on time. And it is the start of the Iowa Speedway 4-pack of tickets to the August 1st race for that pick'ems contest on Saturday night. And then again, Sunday morning on the 12th, we are going to be live handing out tickets to Kansas Speedway for the May 9th race. So a lot going on. We'll cover NASCAR races. We'll cover dirt track races, the Bug Eater Bash. We'll talk to Stan Caesar about the sprint cars at I-80 Speedway, the racing all going on. I believe is that the same weekend as the Icebreaker Challenge at Eagle Raceway, I believe.
As far as what, the Bug Eater?
Yeah. I think those are no, I think the Icebreaker's the next weekend.
Right.
Okay, so we'll talk to Stan, getting ready for that. We'll talk NASCAR. We'll talk local dirt racing. We'll give away tickets to Kansas Speedway. A lot going on next weekend. Enjoy your Easter, Dirk. Appreciate you spending time with me.
You too, Dan.
Have a good one, guys. We'll be back next weekend to do it live.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.